Well, the new Godzilla x Kong Supernova trailer has just dropped. It's only one shot, but here we are talking about it. What were my reactions? What were my thoughts? Do I have any guesses for what's coming? Stay tuned and find out. I would like to apologize before I get into this video for it not coming out immediately, because I did watch this teaser when it came out. It's just I didn't know if I wanted to do this kind of video, and I was debating it back and forth, and then I realized I kind of do. As for my reactions, meh, there isn't much to really grapple here other than, the new title, the text of the title, and everything like that. Now, Supernova certainly does suggest something space-related, but it also could equally be something weird going on in the Hollow Earth. I just don't know. The thing that I grabbed the most from this is it reminds me a lot of that first teaser we got for King of the Monsters, but this has even less information on it. I'm also noticing that they decided to keep the Godzilla x Kong mantra. They didn't just get rid of Kong, because I heard that this movie is supposed to be a more Godzilla-centric film, which is unlike the previous two entries within the Monsterverse in terms of their films. I don't know. It's not a solo Godzilla in the title anymore. It has to have X Kong in it, so I guess it's going to become a trilogy in of itself. Now, what are my thoughts about all of this? Well, I'm excited for this film. I'm really excited, actually. I've absolutely embraced the ridiculousness of the Monsterverse, and I'm ready for it. Admittedly, I'm a little more excited for Monarch Season 2 than I am for this, but that's because I personally feel that that show is more of my style, both visually and story-wise. It's more tonally within my vibes. I have absolutely no idea who this director is. Grant Spooter. I don't know. I've never seen... I was looking at his IMDb, and I recognize no movies that he's really made. Well, that certainly lends credence to the theory of what Hollywood is being notorious for, which is just another insert newbie director here that is somewhat competent at what he does, but also doesn't have much of an auteurist feel to him. He's just going to kind of go along and make the movie. And also, that being said, I'm kind of sad to see Adam Wingard go. I was when it was announced that he wasn't returning to direct the next Monsterverse film, because I really felt that in GX Kong: The New Empire, I felt like he finally had let loose his shackles, and that he's finally just embraced this universe and truly made it his own. And so I'm sad to see that level of consistency from GXK to The New Empire go. I don't think Grant Spooter, I don't think he'll make anything that looks overly different than what we see now. I think the overall visual tone now has been set within the Monsterverse, thanks largely to Daughtry and Wingard, and I don't think Grant is going to deviate from that very much. I'm curious to see what he does here. Opens a whole other can of worms with my frustration with Hollywood, that it can all just come down to insert director here, and it's not about what the filmmaker can do and not letting the filmmaker, do his own thing and stuff like that. I mean, Godzilla Minus One is a perfect example of why you should do that, and why I'd love to see more of that, especially with Godzilla. In fact, really, if I really break it down, I think Gareth Edwards, I think his visual style is still the most unique out of all the Monsterverse directors. All the other ones can kind of mesh together, and I wouldn't really notice a difference. However, with Gareth Edwards and how his style is in terms of how he directs action, I think I can pick him up out of everyone else. And granted, Monarch kind of copies this. That could be directed by anyone as well, but they specifically copy Edwards' style. Glad to see Trapper coming back, or at least he's supposedly coming back according to the Wikipedia page. Loved him in the previous film, thought he was a really fun character, a kaiju dentist. I am all for this, or a kaiju vet, I should say. All for it. I love that concept. That concept is so ridiculous, I love it. Henry Jackman is doing the music. Well, that's the same composer that did the music for Kong Skull Island, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't remember a single piece of music from that movie, other than the stock music and, the rock and roll stuff. I don't remember a thing about it. It's not that I don't like that movie. I really like Kong Skull Island. It's just the music never really stuck out to me, which is very different to Alexander Desplat's score for 2014, or especially Bear McCreary's score for King of the Monsters, which, by the way, his score is my favorite part of that movie, or even Junkie XL. I remember a couple of tracks from the 2 previous movies that I just can't recall a single one, but I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll do its job, unless they go like batshit crazy and pull like a Richiro Manabe on us. You know what, at this point, sure, fuck it, let's do it. Now, I've seen a lot of speculation as to who the villain is going to be for this film, and I've got 4 predictions. I've got 4 predictions. It's going to be Space Godzilla, or Gigan, maybe another King Ghidorah, or an original kaiju for the Monsterverse. Those are my 4 guesses. Well, I'm always up for new kaiju, so even if they just create their own original kaiju within, like they have within the previous film in the Monsterverse, honestly, I'd be okay with that. I really liked the 2 kaiju from the previous film. So if we end up getting our own kaiju for this that isn't one that was already established in previous Godzilla films, or King Kong films for that matter, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm going to be right up front and honest with y'all. I have high doubts it's going to end up being Space Godzilla, but I would really like it to be Space Godzilla. It would be really cool for him to make a comeback. Really cool. He's only been in 1 Godzilla film, for Christ's sakes. Let's bring him back. He's such a cool idea. I like Space Godzilla enough. I actually did a video several years ago now defending Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, and why I think Space Godzilla is a cool monster, and why I think that movie is actually relatively underrated in the grand scheme of things within the Godzilla franchise. That brings up many questions, though, like how would they explain Space Godzilla? Like, we got two explanations within the Heisei era as to how Space Godzilla could have been made, but thus far we don't really have anything else within the Monsterverse that could explain that, unless they change it to something within the Hollow Earth. At that point, it wouldn't be Space Godzilla anymore, so would they really want to do that? At this junction, it could just be Space Godzilla just shows up out of nowhere and starts destroying shit, and you know what? I'd buy it. Gigan and King Ghidorah can easily be explained within this universe. I mean, we already had King Ghidorah. You know, we already established that he is from outer space. And then we have Apex, who could do something with Gigan, you know, with their cybernetic technology and stuff like that. And we do know also that Monarch will be playing a substantial role within this next movie as well. If we're dealing with the Hollow Earth and all the insanity that goes on down there, make it Megalon. Hell yeah. Bring back Megalon, my favorite walking cockroach. Absolutely. So my final thoughts on this whole ordeal. I expect this movie to be fun and dumb, and while Toho makes the deeper, darker stuff that's more in line with what I like, the Americans, us here, are going to make movies that are for the general audience, and especially kids, getting kids into Godzilla, and I'm more than okay with that. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Right now, Godzilla fans are having their cake and eating it too, and that's an awesome place to be in, at least I think, as a fan. Even if you don't like one over the other, I happen to like both, you can just pick and choose which one you want to watch. It's one of the benefits of having a franchise that is as big as it is. I will miss Adam Wingard. I do. I like him. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a fun director. I'm going to miss his flair in the Monsterverse. I will, but we'll see how this new guy does, and there really isn't much else here to really dissect. I think a lot of these people that have made like 2-hour-long videos dissecting this 30-second teaser are insane and just begging for views. They literally have nothing to go on, and I don't really like doing that. I was talking with a friend of mine, and I realized that as much as I want to leave the big G doesn't leave me. So I want to do some more Godzilla videos, particularly relating to Godzilla history, the behind-the-scenes stuff, and stuff like that, considering the shift in what my channel is composed of as of recent. We'll see what happens. The future is bright, everybody, especially if you're a Godzilla fan. Take it easy, hit the subscribe button, do whatever the hell you want. Sayonara.